Today we're going to be talking about a fucked up furry that did pretty fucked up things. This furry in particular is named Dead City on YouTube.com. He also goes by Undead Meowth on Discord, or at least he used to. Now, I wouldn't be talking about this guy today, and honestly, I had no idea who the fuck he was at all, until I was sent a video of his where he decided it would be a great idea to go after me.
I have not covered Gilded Poo on this channel, but if I were to briefly summarize who he is as a person, he will make rape jokes at the expense of sexual assault survivors.
You goddamn right. Read the hat.
And he will spam Discord servers full of minors with bestiality porn.
That never happened. I've never done that, and he shows no evidence for me ever doing that, and that's primarily due to the fact that there is no evidence of me ever doing that because it never fucking happened. However, I find it very interesting that this guy went after me for that because this guy has a history of drawing very fucked up and suspect shit, such as this doodle of his PFP with a knotted dog cock. Now, naturally, I blurred it, and what did he have to say about that?
I'm not sorry for drawing furry porn.
No regrets. Alright, fair enough. But what about this? What that is, what you're looking at, is a screen cap of a video he uploaded onto the internet. In fact, it's actually a screen cap of the video's thumbnail. The penis of the dog in the thumbnail, of course, blurred. That in of itself doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's just a coincidence, I suppose. However, when you click the play button for that, you get this. Now, again, another still, because I'm not going to show you the full fucking clip. In essence, it is a person playing with the genitalia of a dead alligator. This again was uploaded to YouTube as a meme. However, you might be saying that that is not enough evidence to prove much of anything, right? What about his Ink Bunny account, where he lists his, kinks, gore, barbed penis, barbed cock, penile spines, and dog knot. So, yeah, this guy, very suspect dude. Very, very suspect. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to call him suspect. I'm actually just going to call it like it is. He's a fucking zoophile. But on a lighter note, he does cite his parents and the Lion King for why he became obsessed with anthropomorphic depictions of animals.
The Lion King is most definitely the thing that turned me into a furry. I mean, it was a huge part of my childhood. Honestly, I blame my parents now for my addiction to anthropomorphic animals. Thank you, Mom and Dad.
Now, to be clear, he is not saying that in the defense of why he likes animals so much that he lists their genitalia as kinks. However, it is interesting to me that he blames the Lion King for his obsession with anthropomorphic depictions of animals at all, given that none of the animals in the Lion King were anthropomorphic whatsoever. So I don't even see the connection here. Little odd, little strange. It's almost like he's into animals. So normally I throw this kind of thing at the end of the video, but once you actually get to the end of the video, you will understand why I decided to throw it here instead. Anyway, I would like to say thank you to all of my Patreon supporters that you're seeing on the screen now, in addition to all of my YouTube members. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like, subscribe, share, all that other jazz. If you really, really like it, be sure to become a member today. And if you don't want to do that, you can always, as well, join my Patreon. Anyway, enough with the shilling. Let's continue talking about this weird degenerate freak.
He's part of the fuck your feelings crowd who claims that nothing is off the table to mock, and so understandably is crashing out and completely mauling over the fact that Vii Tempest released his really cringy sexts to her to the public.
So I'm not entirely sure where he got the idea that I was crashing out at all. I went on multiple streams, not only my own stream, but I went on Dicker's stream, and I even went on fucking, Morale's stream as well. And I was pretty reasonable, actually. In fact, if I were crashing out about it, don't you think more people would have made fun of me for said crashing out?
Now, I don't want it to seem like I'm on Vii Tempest's side. I think it's a little bit cringe that she pretended that she didn't know who leaked the DMs when it was her all along. And I think the whole, I just couldn't stay silent anymore narrative that she tried to play off was also pretty dumb. But with all things being the same, if she just released this under her own account and was like outright like, I'm doing this because I think this shit's funny, I'd have no issue with this.
So for those of you that don't know, because I forgot to preface this before showing the clip of him going into it, Vii Tempest is somebody that I had sexted from November of 2025 through to January of 2026. Actually, early January of 2026. So less than 2 months of sexting. Actually, that's not even true, because most of our conversations were actually pretty normal conversations, with exception to the few instances where we were sexting, and those few instances she screen capped and uploaded to lolcow farms. Now you might be wondering why it was she decided to leak all of that in the first place. Well, the reason why is because I told her I had no interest in fucking her, and she got really mad, got really upset, and decided to do all the aforementioned things that I said she did. Regardless, what I need to point out here that's really important to note is that she didn't just do that.
I don't think you guys should tell Gilded this, because I don't want Gilded to be embarrassed about this, but Tempest did show me a video of his penis.
Okay. She was asking me as well. I respectfully said no.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to see Vlad's penis.
She sent it to me regardless. I didn't want to see it. She just sent it to me.
Now, before you try to argue that that's mere hearsay, here's her admitting it. And by the way, she apparently lied to GoCato, and GoCato confronted her on it in a stream that's now deleted. Now, you might be saying, well, that's your fault for sharing it in the first place with her. What were you expecting? And you know what? Fair enough. However, I don't really give a shit that she shared my dick around. I really don't. That's a whole lot of not my fucking problem. But I do find it very interesting that she, of all people, had done so, given the fact that she started an entire crusade going after Fox Azure, one of my patrons, for him sharing her image of her tits in my server. Something he got banned for, by the way. She went on an entire crusade over that for fucking weeks. So, realistically, she was the last person that I expected to do something like that. I want to point out that if you're looking for a victim in that scenario, technically speaking, that victim would be me. And if you were trying to go after anybody for any of this, you should be going after her, not me. And in effect, going after me instead of her is effectively victim blaming. Now, granted, I don't care about any of that. I'm not here to morally posture or moralize any of that. I'm just speaking relatively objectively about all of that. However, my view on that is simply, if you're going to do it, just own it. It's fine. In fact, it would be kind of based if you did. But you won't, because you're a bitch.
And it's very clear that Vii Tempest values Gilded Poo far more than Gilded Poo values Vii Tempest.
With everything I said, clearly not. And these are things, by the way, you would be fully aware of. The fact that she leaked my nudes was made public over a month before this video uploaded. There is no way in hell you didn't know this. This idea that she cared more about me than I did about her is a little insane when you also acknowledge all the things she did to go after me. All because I said the sexting was mere sexting.
Gilded, as someone who is a 40-year-old man and twice this person's age, should have been able to recognize that this is a toxic power imbalance and ended the relationship himself.
A power imbalance, you say? What a very intriguing, very ironic thing to come out of your mouth in particular. However, I'm gonna pull back a little bit here, because whenever it comes to two consenting adults, obviously I think the power dynamics argument is fucking gay and cringe. But whenever we're talking about, say, adults and minors engaging in sexual conversations, well, clearly at that point, the power dynamics argument makes a little bit more sense. It actually kind of applies. Why did I bring that up? Well, there's this guy named Vii Omega. This guy in particular was friends with a very famous pedophile known as Kiro the Wolf. However, on top of that, he had been talked about as early as 2018. And Vii Omega was pals with this guy. Now, if you want more depth on Vii Omega, you can, of course, click the link down below to watch Yin's video on it, and aside from Yin's very prolific moralizing throughout the video, it's a pretty good rundown on really everything you need to know about Vii Omega. But in short, Vii Omega is a groomer pedophile freak. And he decided that at 20 years old, that he was going to drag a 17-year-old into a group chat, a 17-year-old, by the way, that he knew for over a year before dragging them into said group chat, and decided to, on top of that, engage in sexual discourse with this 17-year-old. And it looked a bit like this. Nah, you're just our cum bucket, Foster. Our own little toy. Okay, slut. Oh, shut up, bitch. You know you like it. This ain't Foster. Where's the slut I left on your thigh? Don't tell me you washed it off. And also, because I know somebody's gonna say it, this 17-year-old was not like 2 days away from being 18 or anything like that. This 17-year-old was born on September of 2001. Very tragic. And these screen caps were taken in January of 2019. Almost a full year away from being 18. And they had already known Vii Omega for a year before these interactions even happened in the first place. And so you might be asking here, Gilded, why is it that you're having us read Vii Omega's DMs? This has nothing to do with Dead City. You're supposed to be talking about Dead City, and in fact, why did you even bring up Kuro the Wolf earlier, and what the fuck does their friendship have to do with Dead City? Well, I'm glad you asked. The reason why I bring all that up is because, well, Vii Omega asked Dead City to keep the friendship of Kuro the Wolf and Vii Omega a secret from everyone. Here's a clip from Yin talking about it.
Poring's DMs with V even start with Poring asked if V was friends with Kero due to someone called Undead Meowth telling Poring about it. V's language regarding the topic is wanting to keep that a secret, telling Poring how they shouted at Undead Meowth for letting it slip to certain people, and trying to explain that Kero had changed.
So yeah, Dead City agreed to keep their friendship a secret. I mean, he apparently failed to do that, but he agreed to do that, which is kind of interesting. Now, a lot of people might be saying here, well, wait, it may have been the case that Kuro the Wolf hadn't been exposed yet, but, like, he did almost a full year prior to this interaction, back in 2018. So there is no way that fucking Vii Omega nor Dead City would have been entirely ignorant to that. And on top of that, what the fuck do you think Vii Omega was referring to when he said Kuro had changed? Obviously, what he was talking about was the allegations that he had already known about for at least a year. And if he knew about it, then Dead City had to have known about it. And the reason I think Dead City had to have known about it was just because of how buddy-buddy he and Vii Omega were. In fact, they were so buddy-buddy that they were in the same group chat together talking to the same 17-year-old about the same subject matter. I almost accidentally sent Vi's dick. I'm tempted to show a pic of Vi's dick just because, damn, I can't stop looking at it. BBL sluts. I don't know why he said that, but, you know, whatever. They're in the same group chat. He's seeing the shit that Vii Omega is saying, and he says nothing. If you go on his channel and you type Vii Omega, you know what pops up? Nothing. Not a fucking thing. He never made a video on Vii Omega at all. And yet this motherfucker has the gall to stand there and tell you he's changed.
I've done the work to at least improve as a person, okay? I don't do the baseless bullshit I used to do back in 2016. You wanna talk about change? Call me a fucking penny, cause I'm changing like it's going out of style, babe!
How is it that any of us are supposed to believe your unhinged rant about how you've changed whenever you have not addressed a single one of these things without somebody bringing it to your attention first? Why is it that you've never done a video on Vii Omega? You've never mentioned to anybody that you were keeping the fact that Vii Omega was friends with Kuro the Wolf a secret from everyone. In fact, you didn't even seem to have an issue with them being friends, which is something I would have taken issue with. The fact that you have not said a fucking word about any of this, and yet have the gall to stand there and tell everybody you've changed is fucking crazy. You didn't even apologize to the fucking 17-year-old that you and your buddy fucking groomed. If you're gonna come at me, come correct, and don't come at me with a mountain of fucking skeletons in your closet. In fact, I'm kind of worried for those skeletons in your closet because they're probably covered in cum, you fucking freak.